And I call Mr. Stewart Dickson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I welcome the opportunity to have the debate, and we've heard from both Mr Wilson and Mr Beggs that there may be two sides to the argument in relation to this particular issue which has given rise to the debate this evening. But Mr Wilson is absolutely right in bringing this debate to us, whatever the rights and wrongs of the particular constituency issue are, because there is a very serious issue in relation to the whole disposal and enforcement aspect to dealing with tyres, whether they're in the countryside, whether they're in urban areas, and the whole way in which the Environment Agency is being set up to deal with these matters. The Environment Committee, as we know and others have made reference to, have tried to untangle this web in relation to how tyres should be both disposed of safely and how they can be successfully recycled. But very little action seems to have come from that, and that's why I'm glad to see the Minister here this evening, and I hope that he's going to set out some very clear pathways and some very clear intent on his part as to how the whole issue of both the collection and recycling of tyres will now be tackled by the Environment Agency. And if there's need for change to regulations, I hope the Minister is going to bring those changes forward to us. Members have made reference to the issue of the disposal charge. I recently paid the disposal charge for the replacement of 4 tyres on my car. And yet we're told, or at least the Environment Committee, as I understand it, was told in their questions to NIA and to the Minister, that you didn't administer the scheme, you didn't know where the money went to, and it would be impossible if you were asked to administer the scheme. Well, I have to say, Mr Speaker, the Minister's Department successfully administers, I hope successfully, administers a plastic bag tax scheme. And if they can do that, why on earth can they not administer a disposal charge for tyres, which are infinitely more traceable than plastic bags are into landfill sites? There are actually not that many tyre dealers across Northern Ireland compared with a number of years ago. The businesses have got larger. There's less backstreet exchange of tyres going on, and therefore it is not beyond the wit of NIEA or the Department to actually come up with an appropriate registration scheme that accurately tracks the life of a tyre. I'll happily give way, yes.
Member for giving way. The member agreed with me that the Department itself actually estimates that amount generated could be upwards on £3.6 million annually.
I defer to the member's greater knowledge in relation to the sum, but certainly it is important that tyres, which we know the damage they can cause, as others have made reference to the fact that when they catch fire in illegal dump sites, and we haven't come on to the issue of bonfires and how that disposal also causes serious problems. But I will come on to that aspect of it now, because I think it's important that the Department come back to us and tell us how they're going to rectify the issues that Mr Wilson has raised about somebody who wants to set up a business and the appropriate type of advice that they were given in respect of the business, whether or not it has planning permission. All of those are important issues around that particular constituent. But to be told one thing and then to be prosecuted for another seems to me to be eminently unfair. The NIEA further compound their problems. They don't seem to be able to control the disposal of tyres on a large-scale basis. They don't seem to be able to control or want to control or have any idea about how the charge may be levied and who looks after the charge. And I'm going to ask a direct question to the Minister. I hope he will deal with it. Where does the money go? And then, if the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing even further, I have correspondence between NIEA and myself, and also PSNI and myself, in respect of tyres on bonfires, and other members have made reference to the height of them. Whether we support or don't support bonfires is not the subject of this evening's debate. It is the content of the bonfire and what goes on it. And I don't think you can find anything more polluting, more distressing and more concerning to my constituents. And I've had letters from people who have to live beside bonfires, people in communities who support bonfires, who enjoy the spectacle of a fire, but are living in fear for themselves and for their children for that pall of intense, black, toxic smoke that rises from those bonfires. And it is vitally important that the NIEA get a grip on that. But no, they would far rather send me letters saying how difficult it is. They're not actually the prime body responsible. They pass the buck to the council passes the buck to the police, and it goes back round in circles again. We need a clear round table. I met recently with the police. We need a clear round table meeting between NIEA, environmental health staff and the police to thrash out how we will deal with these problems. But actually, I have to say to the Minister, we wouldn't have a problem, perhaps, with tyres and bonfires if we had a proper disposal scheme and proper traceability and proper accountability, and therefore if tyre ends up on a bonfire, NIEA should know where it came from, and it shouldn't be that they get into confrontation with the communities about trying to remove them. It should be that they should be prosecuting the person who got it to that bonfire site in the first place, who let it out of their store and who made it available for them to actually do the things that they're doing with them. So, Mr. Speaker, I am pleased that Mr. Wilson has brought the debate this evening to us. He has raised important issues, and I am seriously concerned that the Minister should now deal with this issue in both a comprehensive way. I hope he will answer the members for the constituent in East Antrim, and that those matters can be resolved, and perhaps the siting isn't the best place, and that good advice can be given. But it seems to me to be rather heavy-handed to go down an enforcement route when advice and guidance given properly in the first instance could have obviated the problem. And secondly, I would encourage the Minister to look seriously at the charge, why he is not taking control of that charge, and if he doesn't want control of that charge, surely he must have an interest in who is taking that money and what it is they are actually doing with it. And finally, I think we need to sort out the whole issue of NIEA, their responsibility, local councils' responsibility and the police's responsibility when it comes to tyres which end up on bonfires. Thank you.
Very much, and I call the Minister for